YouTube community. This is Kayla Kerrigan, Bailey Tackett, and Alex Thompson's project for an Intro to Sports Psychology class. Our project focuses on effective goal setting. First, I'd like to introduce you to the purpose of our project. Our project is going to highlight a potential problem found in sports or activities. We will then provide an intervention program for that problem and explain why our decided upon intervention program might be most helpful. If you're going to be using an example like our project with an audience of your own, we suggest that you offer your audience an opportunity to interact and participate with an activity. We will provide an example activity towards the end of this presentation. Setting the scene. To define our problem, we would like you to imagine that you are an NCAA Division I women's golf team. We were hired by your coaches as sport consultants. Your coach has made some goals with no input from the team. He's just decided upon some goals and posted these goals in the locker room, provided these goals to the athletes. Yet the coach is now irritated and frustrated with the lack of motivation, the decreased performance, the lack of effort in practice and competition, and has turned to sport consultants to address these issues. So our planned intervention for this problem is to have a full team meeting, including athletes and coaches, to work towards developing a list of goals that everyone has ownership of and everyone contributes to. These goals should include process, performance, and outcome goals. The goal of the intervention is to include everyone in the goal-setting process, thereby improving motivation, performance, and effort. First, before we get into explaining the specifics of goals and deciding upon goals, we need to have a good understanding of what goals are. A goal is a mission you work towards, a level of proficiency you want to achieve on some task. The great thing about goal setting, if done properly, it can increase motivation, improve performance, increase confidence, lower anxiety, bring about higher consistency, and provide some direction and control as to why you're working towards the goals you're working for. When thinking about goals, an understanding needs to be that there are different types of goals. There are process, performance, and outcome goals. I'll be breaking these down piece by piece. Process goals are the how, what you will do to obtain the performance and the outcome goals. An example of a process goal for a women's collegiate golf team would be every day everyone will practice their putting game for 30 minutes from a variety of distances and angles. Or practicing in bad weather conditions when the opportunity is available. Some other examples of process goals are having social nights to create better social cohesion on the team, developing a more positive environment and providing support to one another, having team building activities once a week. These are all examples of process goals. A performance goal is the goal to improve on previous performances. An example of a performance goal for a women's collegiate golf team would be, we would like to improve our putting game and decrease the amount of putts by 3 this year. Again, this is a goal of improving on a past performance. And lastly, you have outcome goals. Outcome goals are how you perform in comparison to others. An example of an outcome goal would be, we want to place in the top 3 in conference this year. We want to win conference this year. Anything that has sort of a solidified outcome would be considered an outcome goal. Now we're talking about goal setting, and we've indicated that your coach has provided you a list of goals, yet that's not how effective goals are made. So how do we set effective goals? As sport consultants, we're taught that the best way to set effective goals is to make your goals SMART. Your goals should be specific, they should be measurable, action-oriented, realistic, and time-based. Specific goals should answer the questions what, why, who, where, and which. If you can't answer one of these questions, then your goal may not be specific enough. You want to make sure that everything is answered so that you know exactly what that goal means. Your goals should be measurable. You should be able to answer the question, how much? How many? How are you going to know when that goal is accomplished? You need to have some sort of frame to measure these goals on so you can know when these goals have been completed. Your goal should be action-oriented. There needs to be a list of specific behaviors you need to accomplish that will help you reach your goals. Your goals need to be realistic. They should be moderately difficult that you challenge yourself, and they're within your abilities, but they should not be so easy that you're not working hard to achieve the goal. And lastly, they should be time-based. When will the goal be completed? Is it a short-term goal or a long-term goal? Is there a time limit on this goal? If you can manage to make your goals specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic, and time-based, you're on the right track to making some very good and very effective goals. Now, this is the chance for you to include your audience and allow them to participate in your presentation. Offer the audience a list of goals that have been created for them by a coach. Allow your audience to select goals on the list that they like and goals that they do not like. Get them talking. Give them a chance to explain why they do or why they don't agree with particular goals. Now is the opportunity for your participants to share their knowledge of why certain goals do and do not work. Share their experiences that they've had on their college teams, their recreational teams, to figure out what works best. In our presentation, we're going to show you a list of goals that have been created. After that, I'll discuss with you ways to include your audience and get them participating. So here's a list of goals that have been presented at the beginning of the season. Imagine now you're 4 weeks in as a female collegiate golfer. Based on the performance at recent tournaments and practice, the coach is questioning the team's investment in the goals, their motivation to play, and the effort they're putting in both practice and competition. The coach has then hired some sport consultants to come in and address these issues. From a sport consultant perspective, team goals can really make a huge difference in one's motivation and investment. When creating team goals, we've often been taught it's best to get everyone's input. When goals are simply provided to athletes, that may not be the best way to have them fully invested in those goals and really work and be motivated to accomplishing those goals. So rather, we like to include everyone in the goal-making process so that there's some agreement and some collaboration on working towards these goals. So if you're presenting this to a group of people, have them look at this list. Decide which of these goals seem to fit. Are there any goals that they would like to eliminate? Are there any goals that they would just change slightly to make them more SMART? The list of goals provided by the coaches: have fun, practice with intent, limit 3 putts, think about the team over the individual, develop or have pre-performance routines, win conference, and be at practice 20 minutes early, and always shoot under 75. Have your audience go through this list and select the goals that are specific, measurable. Have them select the goals that are outcome goals, process goals, or performance goals. Think about what's action-oriented, what's realistic. Are they answering all the questions provided by each of the goals? Have them decide how this list stacks up against effective goals. In wrap-up, I just want to reiterate that we have presented a potential problem that can arise for any team or activity. We've then indicated a potential intervention, goal setting, and how that intervention might be helpful for this issue. And then we've allowed our participants to get involved and offer feedback. This was a project for an Intro to Sports Psychology class completed by Kayla Kerrigan, Bailey Tackett, and Alex Thompson. Hopefully this has been helpful, and hopefully you can take this project and use it in your own work with athletes. Thank you very much.